Superman's story begins with a direct conflict between humility and arrogance. Jor-El is the only one humble enough to accept the data about the doom of Krypton, while the Science Council is too arrogant and complacent to listen to him. Krypton is wiped out because of arrogance, and Superman only exists due to humility. Later, we see the Science Council reincarnated metaphorically in another arrogant scientist, Lex Luthor. Kal-El lands on Earth in a place called Smallville, small as in its name, connoting humility, and he's raised in a humble working-class farmer family. His motivation for using his powers for good comes from the teachings of his parents during his childhood, and there's a subtle element of humility to this. The only reason Superman does what he does is because he listened to other people telling him what he should do and accepted their wisdom. Heeding the guidance of others is a sign of humility. A fan-favorite element of the origin from Superman the movie is the death of Pa Kent from a heart attack, leading to Clark learning the limitations of his powers, further imbuing him with a sense of humility as he recognizes what he can't do. This sense of limitation, connoting humility, was also present for decades of comic history, as Superman was constantly unable to return the bottle city of Kandor to normal size, despite his scientific prowess. Clark moves to a big city and brings his small-town humility with him. His performance as the cowardly Clark Kent is another sign of humility. He's not above debasing and embarrassing himself for the greater good. And in Metropolis, he battles Lex Luthor. Lex has vast intellectual power, and believes that this puts him above humanity, making him arrogant. Superman has vast power too, which happens to be physical, but doesn't believe that it puts him above others. Lex Luthor versus Superman is the arrogance versus humility conflict from Krypton born again, with the fate of a new world hanging in the balance. Thankfully, this time the humble individual has enough power to overcome the arrogant one. In his battles with Lex and with other supervillains, Superman refuses to kill, and this is another indication of humility, as he doesn't believe that he has the authority to decide whether or not someone is beyond redemption. His employment of the Phantom Zone is the logical extreme of this point of view. Not only will he not kill, but he'll grant eternal life, meaning eternal opportunities to reform. But Superman faces more than just supervillains. Many fan-favorite moments involve him interacting with civilians with comparatively small problems, but he doesn't see them as small. He has the humility to avoid viewing his time and his powers as so precious that he can only spend them on city-wide disasters. Instead, he has time for everyone, because he's humble enough to think that everyone deserves his time. In his adventures, his most iconic power is his ability to fly, which combines with his humble personality to create a sense of irony. He's always flying above people physically, but he doesn't see himself as above anyone. And humility appears in the story in smaller ways too. Superman is part of the Justice League, implying that he acknowledges that he can't defeat every enemy alone. In the Silver Age, he initially employed Supergirl as a secret backup weapon to help him out of losing situations, implying that he acknowledges his potential to fail. He also had a fleet of Superman robots in the Silver Age that could fill in for him, because he understood that he couldn't be everywhere at once. And like many superheroes, he initially avoids pursuing romance with the woman he loves because he's humble enough to put her safety above his feelings. Generally, the notion of humility rings through the entire story. Humility is the reason Superman is alive, it's the reason he became a superhero, and it defines a lot of his behavior. If there's any trait that Superman would seem out of character for possessing, it would be arrogance. And this is important because with a character as powerful as Superman, especially in the early days where he was so much more powerful than the enemies he was facing, he would be very unlikable if he was characterized as anything but humble. Injecting humility into every part of his story was a great way to make Superman likable, despite him being so superior to others physically. His name itself is a conflict that summarizes this. Super means superior, but this is only true for his physical powers, not how he sees himself. The man portion is more important to him. He knows that no matter how super he is, he's always just a man.